Yeah, I get it. The place is nothing special. But believe me, you're not likely to find anything better in this city, and especially not in this neighborhood. Yeah, well, I didn't particularly want this neighborhood. I just don't have the money for anything else. I understand. In that case, it's either your last apartment or this one. You can take another look around. Sure, look around. Looks like this place has never been renovated. Ever. That's right. The apartment has been empty for a long time and hasn't seen any repairs. And it seems the previous tenants, well, they weren't in any hurry to do any either. How could anyone even live here? This looks like the 80s, with the muskrat hats and all. Oh no, this is probably a 2000s renovation. See that soft tile on the ceiling? That's the stuff. Wow. Maybe you could give me a discount? I'm gonna have to gut the entire apartment. A discount? Maybe a very small one. Even a little would help. I still have to hire workers. That was pretty much the conversation I had with the realtor. Then came the small discount, which was very small indeed, right after I signed the papers and all that. Afterward, I went to my rental, grabbed my few belongings, a laptop and some clothes, and moved in here. I thought about all this while sitting and smoking in the kitchen. The apartment is a nightmare. No renovations. It's a 75 square meter panel building apartment. The size is great, but that's where the pros end. The neighborhood is so-so, pretty far from everything. There's a dorm nearby, and who knows what kind of people live there. It's far from my job, and far from the market or any shopping centers. Basically, it's a purely residential bedroom community. You come home, buy some milk, bread, fish, and that's it. Nothing else to do here.
Overall, it's not a huge problem for me.
You know, I'm no gentleman myself. Those gloomy people standing by the benches in the courtyard, I get them. We're kindred spirits. But I was planning on starting a family, so the neighborhood was a factor. It wasn't a surprise, though. I knew exactly what I was getting into. Many would say, just get a one-bedroom in a decent area. And I was living in a rental, one-bedroom. But I decided against it. In a three-bedroom, at least I can put some stuff somewhere. In the one-bedroom, I was constantly going stir-crazy. I mean, seriously, I could fart and stink up the whole apartment, then have to open a window. A one-bedroom is a factory for creating crazy people, not a place for a normal life. That's why I chose this option. Well, congratulations to me, I said to myself after eating a piece of carrot cake and washing it down with a beer. Yeah, my tastes are an acquired one. I would have invited friends over, but to be honest, I didn't feel like it. I was being cheap and didn't want to spend a lot of money. I still needed it to hire workers, and some things I'd have to do myself. I'll have a housewarming party later, just not now. I got up and went to turn on the lights in all the rooms to inspect the apartment. Just like the realtor said, a 2000s renovation. Everything was ancient. There was still furniture from the Soviet era. It smelled of mold and dampness. The wooden floors and window frames were warped and dried out, with dead flies between the panes. None of the beds in this apartment inspired any confidence. I was sure that if I lay down, some creepy crawlies living in them would chew me to pieces. Well, what did you expect for this price? It's a three-bedroom, I thought, looking around. I didn't find anything strange, dangerous, or interesting. So, after finishing my inspection, I went to bed. Tomorrow, I planned to start the renovations. Renovations from morning till night. Hiring people, hauling out trash, an endless list of tasks. It felt like I'd just woken up, and it was already evening. The work was moving at a frantic pace. I'm exhausted. I sit down on the bed. It's only just after 9, but I feel like I've been hit with a sedative. I want to sleep, but I don't want to go to bed so early. Still, I lie down, my mind still on the weird thing in this room. Today, while stripping the wallpaper, I found something strange. A massive steel ventilation grate, hidden behind the wallpaper. I tried to rip it off, but realized it was welded to the rebar in the concrete. I shone a light into it and saw that this wall is much thicker, with about 8 inches of empty space inside that goes down and sideways. It's very strange. Such a heavy-duty ventilation system, but for whom? For what? What's the point of it? Was it part of the original design or some weird DIY project by a former resident? I searched online for answers today, but found nothing. It seemed like no one had ever encountered anything like it. It felt like the air from this grate wasn't going outside, but into another hidden room. But there are no hidden rooms here. It's stupid to call the realtor. He probably doesn't know either. And even if he did, what does he care? He sold the apartment, and that's that. So now, it's my problem. I thought about this as I slowly drifted off. Tomorrow. Everything tomorrow, I mumbled, starting to dream about damn bags of garbage and choosing new wallpaper. I was almost asleep when I heard it. "Don't open the window when it starts to rain." The voice spoke in the complete silence of the empty room. It was clear, calm, without aggression, and it seemed to come from somewhere right here. I shot up in bed. The hair on my head stood up too. What the hell? Who said that? Or did I dream it? Maybe I did, but for some reason I was sure it was spoken aloud in the room. Who's there? Is someone here? My legs started to shake. Silence. No one was there. But I was certain I heard it. The voice was too unexpected. For some reason, I walked to the window and looked at the sky. It was overcast. The clouds looked like it really was about to rain. I need to sleep, I thought, and went back to bed. 30 minutes later, a heavy, powerful rain began, so strong that I could hear it even in my sleep. But I didn't care. I slept, dreaming of more renovations. I woke up well-rested and content. The incident with the voice didn't scare me anymore. I figured it was probably just my mind playing tricks as I was falling asleep. My sleeping brain just made it up. It was scary at the moment, of course, but nothing happened during the night. I got up, stretched, opened the curtains, glanced at the sun, smiled. And then I heard it again, in the room. "Throw out the white pot. It's rusted. It's going to leak. There's rust on the bottom." What? I spun around, scanned the room, and walked over to the ventilation grate in the wall. Who's there? No one answered. Am I schizophrenic? Is it time to see a doctor? I'm already starting to hear voices. This must be how people go insane. But before I officially labeled myself a psycho, I went to the kitchen. That white pot, I'd seen it. I had actually set it aside yesterday. A plain old pot with a little mushroom painted on it. I was planning to cook pasta in it today. But damn it, it was fine. I had inspected it myself. Still, I went to check again. The pot didn't look unreliable. On the contrary, it seemed perfectly intact, with no hint of rust inside. But on the bottom, sure enough, on the very bottom there was a rusty spot that had eaten all the way through, and by some miracle hadn't leaked yet. I poked the rust with my finger, and it went right through the pot. How did I think this was a good pot? How did the voice know? What is this voice? I'd think it was a guardian angel, but giving advice about a cooking pot seems a bit petty for one. This is something else. But what?
I put the pot in a bag to throw out when I leave the house. I didn't know what it was. A guardian angel wouldn't bother with something like this. Does someone walk around my apartment at night inspecting my things? No, that's not normal. This requires a doctor. This is clinical. I'll try to get through this week. I need to at least finish one room so I have a livable space, and then I'm going to a specialist. There are no revelations here, no miracles. You're losing your mind. So today I need to be more careful, control myself. Who knows, maybe I'll start biting people's hands. The cashier's sweet little fingers, crunch, crunch on the cartilage. Actually, that's not funny, I reasoned, grabbing another pot with a hedgehog on it to cook my pasta and meatballs. More hustle and bustle. People, discussions, back and forth. The house is a mess. Total chaos. They're tearing down planks. The cracking sounds like a forest being felled. Dried up cockroach corpses are swept into a dustpan and thrown into a bag. In a word, progress. I'm also participating in the destruction of the apartment. And I'm trying to hear something, anything. Maybe the voice will say something again, and maybe someone else will hear it this time. But the voice is silent, no recommendations. So, until the evening, it's me and 3 other guys working. Later, they leave, and I'm alone again. I have dinner, clean myself up, go into the room, and lie down on the bed. Well, any recommendations tonight? Maybe I need to change my pants? I laugh, but the room is silent. Okay, time to sleep, I whisper, turning onto my side. No matter who calls tonight, don't answer the phone. The calm voice said it. Not loud, not quiet. It just spoke. And if the first time I wasn't sure if I'd imagined it, this time I wasn't asleep, and I knew for sure I did not imagine it. Who's there? Schizophrenia, is that you? I immediately went to the strange grate in the wall. No one was there, but I was sure it was there for a reason. Why it was there, I didn't know. My questions were met with silence. Don't answer the phone! Why? What will happen if I do? Who could be calling? Sure, the last piece of advice was solid, but you can't just guess something like that. And again, who would even be calling me? And should I even stay in an apartment like this? Or is this a problem with my head? Technically, I slept here one night and wasn't tormented by demons. I also can't deny that weird grate. Who would even think to put ventilation, or whatever it is, in the middle of a wall? I showed the grate to the workers today. They just shrugged and said they had no idea, and were surprised it even existed. But they wouldn't touch it. It's a load-bearing wall. What if something went wrong? They said the smartest thing to do would be to either seal it up completely or leave it alone. Judging by its appearance, the walls seem to have been built that way from the start. There's that voice. It only appears at night in complete silence or in the early morning. Never during the day. I mean, if you think about it, why would someone sit in a hole in the wall and give me advice? It's crazy. It's in my head. It has to be in my head. Sometimes crazy people don't know they're crazy.
Tomorrow, I'm going to a psychotherapist. They'll prescribe some pills. Who knows, maybe by the end of the week, I'll be on all fours, barking. I tossed and turned restlessly and finally went to sleep. I groggily forced my eyes open. I want to sleep. The damn phone is vibrating under my hand. I dismissed the call without looking. Go to hell, it's the middle of the night. I dismiss it again. Damn scammers. Trying to steal the $20 on my card, I'll kill them, I swear. In a rage, I pick up the phone and yell, "What do you want? Who is this?" I look at the number and it's vaguely familiar. Did you really think it would be forgotten? A gurgling, choking on water voice says into the phone. There's terrible static, some weird sounds. I hang up, block the number, and I'm scared to even touch the phone. That was my dead friend calling. And he became dead by accident. And that accident was me. He drowned. A dead silence hangs in the air. Don't open the door and don't look out the window. Go to sleep, someone said in the room. Okay, I said. I'll do as you say. You haven't been wrong yet. I tried to fall asleep. 20 minutes later, I heard footsteps on the stairs, heavy ones, and the sound of something slopping and plopping in the stairwell, as if someone was walking and chunks of mud were falling off them and splatting on the landing, spreading across the steps. A few minutes later, a loud bang on my door. I just lay there and listened. The banging on the door continued, so loud the bed was shaking. I wondered why none of the neighbors came out. Surely I wasn't the only one who could hear this. A smell of silt and some disgusting river rot mixed with the overpowering stench of decaying flesh wafted in. After 10 minutes, the sound stopped and went away. I let out a sigh of relief and fell asleep. I woke up later than usual, at 9 a.m., but something in the room was strange. Even as I sat on the bed looking at the window, I didn't immediately realize what was wrong. First, it was noisy in the stairwell, lots of people talking. And second, what was wrong with my window? It was smeared with something. I opened the warped frames and understood. The window was covered in river silt. The stench was horrific. Tiny minnows, slimy algae with stones, and pieces of mussel shells. That's what it was smeared with. So it was real, I whispered, and started scraping the window. The silt had dried and cracked. While I was scraping, I saw prints. They weren't human handprints. Some four-pawed creature had smeared my window with this grime during the night. The thing in the stairwell, it wasn't human. What's worse, while it was smearing the window, it was watching me sleep. The claws on that thing were incredible. It would have torn my throat out in a second, that's a fact. When I finished scraping the window and went out into the stairwell, I began to understand. The stench in the entryway was as if a den of derelicts lived here. Everything was covered in that smelly silt, slime, and other gunk. People were cleaning it up, opening windows, and they were very curious about what was going on and why all this filth ended right at my door. I opened my apartment door for them so they could see I had nothing to do with it. Some were threatening to cut my head off for pranks like this, so I let them in. When they were convinced I wasn't collecting silt in my bathtub and that my apartment didn't have that stench, they backed off. But the suspicion remained. As for me, I quickly drank some tea and rushed to the doctor. It had finally happened. I'd snapped. They prescribed me medication, said I was under a lot of stress, not sleeping or eating well, and that due to being overworked, my brain was playing these kinds of tricks on me. They said there was nothing scary or unusual about it, but from now on, I had to come in regularly and report on my condition and any changes. They gave me pills for my nerves to help me sleep and then sent me home, advising me to take a day off from everything. I came home, entered the room, and immediately heard, "Don't take those pills. They aren't for you. They will destroy you." Oh, shut up, schizophrenia. I took one and washed it down with water from a bottle. I spent the whole day out. I had a normal meal at a cafe, watched people and birds, breathed in the fresh air scented with car exhaust fumes. I walked through a shopping center, bought some completely useless but pleasant trinkets, had dinner there, and went home to sleep. The day was just wonderful. I got home, took off my shoes, and fell into bed just as I was. Don't get out of bed tonight, no matter what you hear. Even if the house is on fire, whatever happens, just lie there and don't get up. And stop taking the pills. They will kill you for sure. I thought, what did I forget? I took my pill and went to sleep. "I'm home," someone said, entering the apartment, and walked past my room toward the kitchen. What? My eyes, half asleep, shot upwards. Someone walked into the kitchen, but the footsteps seemed to just stop. A smell of river silt wafted in. The voice in the room was saying something, but I could barely hear it. I only made out one word: sleep. Apparently, the pills were muffling it, but not what was starting to happen in the apartment. Gurgling, squelching footsteps were already audible throughout the apartment. I pulled the covers over my head and just lay there, listening. The footsteps slowly walked through every room except mine. They only paused for a second at the entrance to my room, but then moved on. Then they came back, plopped down, and crawled out through the window. I need to take more pills. This isn't helping at all. I need to increase the dose. It's too weak. I can still hear the voice and things are still happening. Maybe if I take more, I'll stop seeing and hearing it, I reasoned, lying in bed. I lay there for a long time, and of course, sleep wouldn't come. I was tired of being scared. But closer to morning, I figured I could probably make it to the bathroom. Nothing else was scaring me, and I couldn't hear the voice anymore. I walked into the toilet and saw, in the mirror opposite the door, a hideous man with enormous teeth. He was standing right behind me, about to bite my neck. I spun around, but no one was there. I turned back to the mirror, and he had his hand on my shoulder. I ran and smashed the mirror, and it shattered into the sink. But in the shards, I still saw him. He was looking at me nervously. I quickly did my business and bolted back to my room, lay down, and slept almost until noon. I woke up, and the first thing I did was find the pills. I decided one was definitely not enough. I needed two. I was about to take them when I heard, "If you drink them, you will die. They will destroy you. Don't drink them." "Quiet, schizophrenia, I'm in charge here," I said, gobbling down two to make sure they worked. I worked on the repairs. The day passed, perhaps too peacefully, too calmly. I felt like I could handle anything. I collected the shards from the mirror, completely convinced a tree branch had broken it. Look, there it is, swaying in the wind. There were no traces, even though yesterday I thought it would be a nightmare. The rest of my day went as it should. Even when I went to bed, there was no voice. Nothing. Could the pills have really helped? I'm recording this on my phone. There's no signal. Please, don't come here.
Don't buy this apartment. Please, don't. I've locked the door. She's standing behind it. Some woman. She turned on the light and was standing in the doorway, looking at me with a monstrous smile. I don't know who she is. I can't hear the voice anymore. I tried to break the window, but it's like it's made of concrete. I can't get out. I'm banging on the pipes, but no one is coming. She's breaking down the door. She says she's going to take me with her, that my time has come and no one can help me. Please, somebody help me. Why did I take those pills? Why? What is this apartment? Please, woman, don't touch me.
Excuse me, you said the previous owner didn't finish the renovations. What happened to him?
Unfortunately, I don't know. I only know that the neighbor said he was some kind of lunatic. One night he was banging on the radiator and then he just disappeared. Don't worry, so many years have passed. Nothing terrible will happen. And the documents are all in perfect order. This apartment will be a perfect fit for your budget and your family. And what are those 2 ventilation hatches in the wall? I don't know about those either, to be honest, but I think it's probably some kind of ventilation for the floor structures. Don't worry about it. You're going to love this apartment.